Good morning, everybody. And it's Wednesday, so that means just one thing at Sports Community. It means the Doing Sport Differently live streams with sponsored by Vic Health. I'm Steve Pallas, and I'm just really excited to be joined by today Dr. Karen Block and the newly elected president again of the Northern Badminton Club, Nazim Mazim. Welcome to you both to the Sports Community live stream.
Hi, Steve. Nice to be here.
It's and just for everyone else around the country, we're all located in Melbourne. I think you're located in Melbourne, Karen, and just got the news that we're fifth day in a row of zero COVID cases. So we're all very excited. Naz, your club is actually, apart from the restrictions, is not actually able to operate the Northern Badminton Club because your venue is a COVID testing venue at the moment.
Yes, you're right.
So that makes it a bit challenging. What brings us together today is the research, Karen, that you started, the Count Me In research program, which I think is an incredible program that if I go to the end of the story, it starts with an academic research program and ends with hundreds of new participants into organised sport and a new club, which is the Northern Badminton Club. So, Karen, do you want to just give us a little bit of the background to that project and then we'll go on the journey with you?
Yeah, sure. I guess it started with some previous research I'd done, which showed, highlighted the barriers to sports participation for migrant and refugee families and young people. And I think quite a lot is known about those barriers, but not so much about how to overcome them. And I guess this previous research had shown what was already known, which was around the fact that, things like costs and transport and family priorities are some of the reasons why not as many kids from migrant and refugee backgrounds play sport as in the broader community, but also just people not understanding how sport works in Australia. It's not actually that obvious how you go and join a club. Sometimes, it's actually can be really intimidating if you don't understand how clubs work, to just turn up and say, hey, can I play? Or, to kind of get your head around that is not obvious for everyone. So out of this previous research, we'd seen some examples actually of individual clubs where they had employed people from the local migrant communities to help link people into the club. So our idea for Count Me In was, let's work at a regional level. So we partnered up with Moreland City Council, Hume City Council, Merry Health, which operates in Moreland, and some local sports clubs. And we employed somebody from the Urdu-speaking community and another person from the Arabic-speaking community, because those were the two biggest language groups in that area, to be our community support coordinators. And their job was to go out, talk to families, teach them more, tell them more about the benefits of playing sport for their children, and then help to actually physically link them into the club. So we would be there on day one to help them register, to make sure they felt welcome. Also talk to the clubs about, what some of the issues might be around communication and things like that. So really to support them to join clubs and then to keep, continue to participate. So that's where we started. And it was really successful. We got over the 2 years that we did the project, we had about 300 kids who'd never played sport before join mainstream clubs in a range of sports. Most of them had fantastic experiences, and then the badminton club where Naaz is involved was just, it wasn't something we anticipated, but it was a fantastic additional outcome, I guess, from the project as well.
So Naaz, how did you become involved in the project first of all, and in the Count Me In project?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, actually your voice a bit disrupted. Can you say it again?
Yeah, sorry. How did you first become involved in the Count Me In project?
Actually, with this Count Me In project and Merry Health support and Badminton Victoria support, there were some badminton sessions that were run and that were supported by Badminton Victoria. They paid for the coaches, and we were asked to come and play. At the start, it was totally free for everyone. Then after a while, we started paying little amount, like around $10 for 2 hours play. So I joined that and started playing there. After a few months, a need arises that there should be some person out of the women playing who could to communicate with the coaches and communicate with the women to make sure whether how many of the women will be attending the session or how many will not be attending the day. So I presented myself to as a volunteer to do this task. Then it goes on till we keep on doing this for another year or so, and after that it happens that Sarvat, who is the coordinator for Count Me In with Karen, she asked me if I want to volunteer as a for Count Me In project, because they have to conduct some surveys and collect some data around about it, the immigrant and refugee background kids and women and everyone. So I offered my volunteer services for her. That was the time when I started. Yeah.
And it's very typical. So typical of Australian sport, Karen, that you offer your volunteer and then somehow or other you very quickly become president. So congratulations on being re-elected, Naaz.
Not like that. I was attending a meeting with Karen and other people from different sports organizations. And by the end, we were just talking about badminton because Badminton Victoria was no more. After that, they said that now, if you want to, there should be some other option, and you should, take care of yourself, because till how long they will be supporting just few women playing and going. So, and Karen just popped the idea in my brain, and she said, "Why don't you start a club? Be a president?" And I was like, "Can it happen? Is it possible?" And that was the route when I started thinking about making our own club. And then I talked to a few of the friends who are passionate about the badminton. Because to be honest, I'm engineer myself, but I didn't get job once I arrived in Australia, my field job. So I just started doing different volunteer works, and idea of getting my own club, starting our own club, that was amazing. So that was the seed actually was is actually provided by Karen. She is the
and bringing people together and
I'll
bringing
just
people together.
give credit to Karen for this club, because if she hasn't said those words that day, definitely it would be here.
Actually, can I jump in? I wanted to just go back a bit about how the badminton came to happen at all, because as I was saying, our original idea was really just about getting kids playing. And then some of the mums said, well, what about us? We want to do some sport as well. And it so happened that, Vic Health funded our project, and were also funding quite a lot of state sports associations to be more inclusive as well. And so they knew that Badminton Victoria was looking to broaden out their participation base to include more people from different backgrounds in badminton. So we got talking with Badminton Victoria, and they were really interested in linking up with us. So I went to our first community support coordinator, Sawat, and said, well, what about badminton for the women? And she's like, badminton? We love badminton. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that it was such a popular sport back in your home country, Naaz. And so that's how it started originally. So it wasn't our plan, but it was one of those things that, as you say, Steve, when you bring people together, stuff happens, and that was one of the things that happened.
And we certainly, that's just turn a few things down here. And we certainly will talk in a moment about the social connectiveness side of it and the values of socializing, friendships, and the power to bring people together. But I'd just like to go back a little bit, Karen, and there's a few things that you talked about early that are just givens in Australian sport that people like myself who have grown up in sport just don't realise, is that there's well, I'd say the majority of the community don't actually understand, regardless of multicultural background, they don't understand how clubs work, and they don't understand how to get involved. And the concept of volunteering is not necessarily one that's automatic. Hey, if I get involved in the badminton club, or my child gets involved in the netball club, there will be an expectation of the club that we contribute in some sort of way. So those foundation assumptions, we really need to make them a lot more transparent, don't we?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And yeah, we a big part of the job that we had to do, I think, in Count Me In was really working through the communication, I guess, between clubs and between communities. So as is exactly what you said, you know, people from newly arrived communities don't know how the clubs work. They don't know about volunteering. Things that we learned along the way were that it wasn't necessarily obvious to everyone, for example, that you should bring a drink bottle when you come to play sport, that you need to wear shoes that are appropriate for running in. You know, all the things that, as you say, we take for granted. Not everybody knows that, and some people do. But then we also found the clubs had a lot to learn as well. You know, they needed to understand, they had to learn about, for example, providing halal food. If you're going to bring in people from the Muslim community, that, you know, how important that is. They needed to understand, all these things that weren't automatic about these assumptions. They needed to kind of learn how, okay, you've got to communicate to people what the requirements are about, you know, bringing a drink bottle, turning up on time, letting the coach know if you can't make it, all those things that are just kind of, yeah, kind of we just take for granted. All of that stuff, you have to be out there and be communicating about that. So yeah, you're completely right.
And these themes are coming up in every single week of every single discussion about the way the community sports are operating. So this is not a multicultural weakness in the way that sport presents itself. It's just a weakness in pure engagement. Naz, when you kind of started to think about, hey, we're going to go from more of a social group to a more of an organized club, you can't do that by yourself. How did you go? What was the response within the community of people that had started to play badminton when you said, hey, let's do this and let's but we're going to need your help along the way? How was that received within the community that were playing?
I can say it was amazing, because at start, 3, 4, we were 5 in total who were actually the key members of the club, but we were not the only one who were playing, like who were doing something for the club. Before that, with the help of Badminton Victoria and Mary House and Count Me In, we had 7 trained coaches, and not all of them, 5 of them, when they heard about that we are starting a club, and we talked to them, and they were like, we are happy to volunteer for the club at the start, because we know that there won't be any funds, there won't be anything. And then the target for the girls session was the first one that filled up very quickly, and moms were so supportive. They were, few of them have younger kids, so they can't stay back, they just stay at the corner, but they really want, every time we have a session, I receive calls, Naz, can you want my help, can I come and help you for the session? Few of the moms, to be honest, played at the start with their children to make them feel familiar with the environment in the sessions. And because, to be honest, previously there wasn't any proper setup, I can say. Yeah. Who should they talk to? Who should they go for if they are having any problems? When this club was set, I truly received messages that, Naz, I cannot come. The younger one is sick, or I cannot do. So they really, everyone owns the club, because I think when we talked to them, we told them that we have started a club. They know that that is for them. That was their because they liked playing in the club previously. They wanted something because when Mary Health and Badminton Victoria said that there will be no more badminton and you guys have to do your own. Zavi and Sana for 2 terms, like 6 months, till we were just fulfilling all the needs of a club and talking to Faulkner Leisure Center and the coaches and stuff. They did just family badminton on the days when we used to do the proper badminton sessions. And at that time, there was no proper setup, nothing. They told the families that were involved that we have to pay this much amount to Faulkner Leisure Center, and if we have 10 girls, then you have to participate this much. If there will be less, you have to participate more, and they were happy to do that. So community, like everyone, whoever heard about badminton, Northern Badminton Club, we really got a really good response from community overall, like for girls and
fantastic. And Gary, welcome to you. And for everyone else that's watching the live stream, welcome to you. Please, if you've got questions, put them into the chat. Gary, you said that I missed the word respect, and I think that's a great pickup. Karen, respect is a really important part of this. The club's respecting the community that they're looking to attract. How important is the concept of respect through this process?
Yeah, I would say it's hugely important. You know, that everybody, I guess, is respecting everybody else. And I guess the other thing, attitudinal thing that's so important is just an openness. You know, being open to learn and curious, really. And that goes for all sides. We found some clubs, you know, were really open to learning about the communities that they were bringing in, and really open to you know, maybe slightly different ways of doing things, or different ways of thinking about things, and vice versa. So yeah, I think respect and an openness and curiosity and willingness to learn are the things that really make it work.
And for me, when Gary kind of said the word respect, for me it was respecting the audience enough to recognise that within the club we may need to change how we communicate, how we reach out, how we engage people within the club environment. And I think the respect is acknowledging them and having the willingness to be able to do that. Not all clubs that you approached were ready for this sort of program. They weren't willing to necessarily adapt and change to make themselves more open to different audiences. Was that the experience or not?
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I'd say every club we approached said that they were interested in being involved, but they probably weren't actually ready. As you say, they weren't. Yeah, they didn't have that readiness to change or readiness to adapt, or you know, they thought, yeah, great, bring in more people, but they didn't want people. They weren't ready to see that they actually needed to change some things, be a little bit more flexible, be welcoming, I guess. I think there is a tendency in some clubs for people who run them to feel like it's their thing, you know, and if you come to their club, you fit in with them, but it needs adaptation both ways.
Unquestionably, I think that's the foundation, isn't it? And again, I want to be really clear that this comes through every single session. This is not a multicultural discussion. This is a discussion about, hey, we'd like to have new groups join our club. And it's looking at it through the eyes of those groups and saying, well, what do they need to be comfortable, confident, to be able to do it? And Naz, you're almost apologetic when you said, oh, to be honest, the parents had to play a little bit with the kids before they felt comfortable enough to just come and participate. And what we're learning through this Doing Sport Differently series, that's just normal. It doesn't matter whether it's a Pakistani kid or it's not a cultural thing. It's what we're now finding is a key step in bringing bringing new participants into our sports. So fantastic that you were able to do that. And was growing the confidence of the parents and the kids a part of the journey for you, and getting them feel like it was their club? How did you do that?
Like, I love my participants, all, especially I actually coach the junior members, like from age 7 to 18, and I feel a bond with them, to be honest. Like when like I entered the room, and when kids come on, they give me a high five. Like I have a really good relationship with them. And after we finished playing, they are more, after a few sessions, they were more comfortable to talk to me than to going and talking to the parents. Sometimes at the start, because definitely they don't know me, and none of the others around. If they need to drink water, they quickly go to their parents. If somebody feel a leg ache, or any pain in the feet or something, they run to the parents and ask them. Now they ask, talk to me directly. Now, can I please sit? Can I have a rest for 5 minutes? So that was the I think bonding that developed over a period of time with them. And they share their success at school and stuff with me. And the best thing that and I was talking to Nick from Badminton Victoria. The best thing is, if you see the statistics in Australia, from the age of 12 years old till 18 years old, that age limit is actually irrespective of which background the kids are. They try to be inside the homes, on their laptops, on their devices. It's really hard to get them out of the houses and play. And for this, I'm really happy that Northern Badminton Club, we have more than 18 girls of this age group, 13 till 18, playing every Sunday, taking time out every Sunday, and they really enjoy playing. No matter if they have exams, if they have anything, they come out and play. So that's a success, I can say, yeah.
And before we delve into that social side, I mean, you've both mentioned Badminton Victoria a number of times, and council. And what we would strongly recommend coming from clubs when they do want to increase their participation, just whatever, when you're starting on that journey, that you reach out to council and you reach out to your state sporting associations, because they're just tremendous resources and they want to help people. And that's the experience that you found, Karen, through this project.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had so many great partners on the project, and local government. Yeah, so we worked a lot with Moreland City Council and Hume City Council, and they were both fantastic. They're both, for the badminton club, but in all aspects of the project, they really helped to link us into clubs, to support us. They were part of our advisory group. Moreland City Council provided some funding towards the project as well. And yeah, same with the state sporting associations as well. They've all been great. And I think for the badminton club, the other organisation that was really supportive was Faulkner Leisure Centre, because they've really supported the club a lot. I think they've made the hall hire just a bit more affordable than it might have been otherwise, but they've really, really been a great support too. So I think reach out to anyone and everyone would be my advice. Yeah.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
And Naaz, one of the things that you've done consciously or subconsciously that will set a foundation for many years to come is getting 8 people to be accredited coaches. So you're not just relying on Badminton Victoria. You're as you say, you're becoming self-sufficient. It's your club helping each other in your community.
Yes, you're right. We are lucky, and I give credit to Badminton Victoria, Campaign, and Mary Hills, that because of them we realized that we can do it, and they actually arranged the sessions in which we like got trained and got our badminton BA level 1 coach certificates. So we will be able to coach these kids and the women as well. So like if it is on us, like it's due to these organizations that really helped us to be on our feet. Like today, if we are, because at that time when we had this thought that okay, we have to start the club, we were confident just because we know that we have our own coaches, we have people who will be happy to play, and we know Faulkner Leisure Center since for the past 1.5 years. We were communicating with them for the whole hire and stuff. So all the foundation actually started with them, with these organizations being with us. Yeah,
fantastic.
that and then that gave us the confidence. Otherwise, I cannot like if I haven't played badminton, if I didn't know any of these organizations and anyone, I wouldn't have started a club on my own. Like if I just stand up, okay, I'm starting a badminton club. That was not possible.
Fantastic. And Karen, you've created a tips for community clubs, which I've put the link into the chat that with this conversation, and it can be off the Vic Health website. But one of the key steps, and we haven't really spent too much time, was that multilingual, bilingual community support coordinator. So in your tips and checklists, that role is a really vital role. Someone with a real deep understanding, network, and contacts within the community to which you're looking to invite to your club, and then taking the information both ways. Just give us a bit of some tips about what sort of person is required when we're kind of introducing clubs to new communities.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and you're right. You know, that was the key part of our project. I think was that was the kind of key part of the model that we were testing to see if it would work. And so, yeah, I think someone who's really well connected in the community is great. Someone who's again, you know, got that openness and respect and willingness to learn. We were really lucky in that we had a Sawa was our first community support coordinator, and she was amazing. I think she sent out a message on, was it WhatsApp or some, I can't remember which. Anyway, so she had a group on WhatsApp or one of those things, and to say, you know, we've got opportunities for kids to play sport, who's interested. And I think she had 200 replies in the first week. So that she was, you know, getting someone who's that connected was amazing. But yeah, so I'd say you need to look around your community, say, well, what are the major language groups or migrant groups that are working here? Because often there are language barriers, and so it's really great to have someone who speaks the community language and got those connections.
And if we're a club that don't necessarily have that within our club, then council is the great place to start and say, hey, this is what we're looking to do. And then most likely, like Morland did with, take you down into the community support groups. So whether it be Centre for Multicultural Youth or Merry Health or whatever the community group is for that community that does have those links. Because one of the things the project proves, Karen, is that there's a huge demand in this case, it's the refugee and migrant communities, or newly arrived migrant communities. They want to be playing, or they want to be able to participate in community sport.
Yeah, they absolutely do. We certainly saw a huge demand. And I think parents were really, as Naaz was saying, parents really worry about their kids sitting at home playing on devices all day. Yes. They want their kids to be out there and be active and be connected. And so once you reach out, you find that the demand is huge. And it's interesting. I mean, I guess one of the things we learned, well, a lot of the clubs we spoke to said, oh, we've tried, we've done this. You know, we've put out flyers and posters at schools and no one comes. And it's like, it became really obvious to us that that's not enough. Just putting up a flyer or handing out a leaflet to say, come and play sport isn't enough. You really needed that person, that personal connection who could say to the family, it's okay, come along, we'll support you, this is how you do it, you know, just to walk them through those first kind of quite scary steps for many people about, you know, how to join a club. And so I found that really interesting, that clubs felt they'd already done the outreach, but in fact, you need that extra step.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things the research has proven, because what we've done up until now hasn't necessarily worked. It doesn't mean to say the demand's not there, and that's what you've proven. Hey Naz, with regards to and the social side, have you seen there been non-sport benefits, whether it be social connectiveness, friendships, mental health, the benefits that are coming out of the club by just coming together and bringing the community together? Have you seen that come through?
Yes, definitely. Because even for myself, few of the people, I met them at the badminton club, and now I am a very good family relationship with them. There, I realized that okay, they have same age level children as mine, and the children got together along together like very well. I had really good understanding, and then we started family meetups, and it was really good in that sort. Plus, there are other community events happening up, so they invite each other to those events, and there will be more connections after that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Even that concept of family meetups is so important, and it's going to be so vital coming out of COVID that we are able to connect again, and in a safe way. So, Karen, just in closing, because it hasn't always happened. Somehow or other, we intend to talk for 20 minutes, and now we've just snuck over 30 minutes. So, for clubs that are looking, and specifically, I guess, where they've got in their communities, they've got newly arrived migrant communities, refugees. What would be the couple of tips and takeaways that you would say to clubs that have those community groups in their community?
Yeah, I would say it would be, try to make contact with someone who can be that community connector. If you can pay them a small amount of money to do that work, because it's a big job, I think that's really great. I mean, some people would, you know, we do see clubs where that happens on a voluntary basis, but I think it's really hard to sustain that. It's a lot of work. Yeah, but so reach out. I know some clubs that have done it in the past have said, you know, they've found a parent, for example, who's well connected and keen, and they've taken on that role of being that community connector. Also, for the clubs, talk to your local councils and see what support they can give you, because often they can help a lot. In terms of barriers too, I mean, the big barrier that we know for many people is cost, and I guess I was really pleased to hear again that the Victorian government is now going to be providing vouchers to people to help them cover the costs of playing sport, people on low income. So I think that will help a lot as well.
That will be absolutely huge, and it's to be fair, it's about time Victoria caught up with the rest of the country, I think. So
indeed,
that's a great positive. Naz, from your perspective, as you've been on the journey, for clubs that are looking to reach out and open themselves up to new migrant communities and refugee communities, what would be your tips, or from your experience, that you could share?
As Karen said, the cost is actually the main, because when somebody is coming from a migrant background, somebody is migrating to Australia, definitely we have, like, I migrated 10 years ago. I had enough dollars with me, because I know we are coming here with our children. Like, we have lots of amount in the bank, but at least till the time we didn't get a proper job, that was the only thing we have. So we have to be very, I cannot spend that amount just in this club fees and stuff. So I would definitely go for, like, if I find work, if my husband find work, and then when we will realize that now it's the best time that we can put our kids to any clubs. because I don't remember at the start, like for 2 years we can't do anything like that. But after that, we put our children in Naaz kick, because and the swimming, we started swimming program as soon as we arrived here, but we didn't put them in any of the sports activities until we were stable enough, and like, because swimming is itself a costly program. So
Yes.
just taking out swimming, and we put them in neb or kick, though we don't have any footy backgrounds, and we didn't know, just to make them aware that what footy is, and why everyone is so curious about footy. So we just asked them to play it, and that made us feel something about footy, because footy is never was never our sport. In Pakistan, it was cricket. That was, for cricket, a person can do, like, die for it. Like, if
Yeah, yeah.
you need to travel to Adelaide and for a match, if Pakistani team is coming, I would definitely travel to Adelaide to watch that match. But footy, I didn't know anything about it. But now, after 10 years, I can say our whole family watched footy final on our couches with chips and popcorns in our hands, and we enjoyed that. Because now we know what this is. So cost is the main thing, that, as Karen said, because when you offer them free sessions or free few sessions, that will develop the interest in them, and that will definitely help them to cope with that additional. Nobody can or I can say, spend money if they have a limited amount.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. And I think that's a great way to finish. So, Naz, the newly elected president of the Northern Badminton Club for another 12 months, thank you so much for sharing your journey. And Karen, the Count Me In research, which there's a lot of information on the Vic Health website as well on the research, which we'll put that in the links with the tip sheet. Thank you so much for sharing the journey. It's a wonderful program. It's had wonderful results, and lots of information that we can take to any club, to any audience. So thank you so much for being part of it.
Thanks, Dave. That's a pleasure. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, hasn't it, Naaz?
Thank you so much, Steve. It was a privilege to be a part of this. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Karen. No, to hear the stories, it's our privilege to be able to provide the platform to tell the stories and to be able to share the stories. It's the stories and your journey that's the inspiration. So I thank you so much. For those that are online, thank you for watching online. For those that are watching, that will watch the recordings, as you always do every week, thank you for your support each week. And as always, to Vic Health, thank you so much for making it possible that we can bring these stories of doing sport differently to you each week. So until next week, I'm Steve Pallas. Thank you very much for being part of our sports community.